regarding what is going on today. As of this moment, they also addressed the media, accusing the national security even of stealing allegedly from the former governor's house. And may I know, are you doing something unconstitutional regarding investigation and invading houses of former appointees?
Good morning, my name is Mawina with TV3. With respect to Mr. Edubwahi, you mentioned accounts belonging to him and other companies. I want to find out if there's been you've officially applied for freezing orders to those banks to ensure that the coffers are not emptied, even though you've served a warning. And secondly, the Deputy Attorney General has mentioned, amongst many other things, that some members of Parliament are seeking to abuse immunity offered them while making defamatory comments in the precinct of Parliament, and suggested there was going to be a cure of some form for it. What is that cure, if we may ask?
All right, thank you very much. So the Attorney General will proceed to answer these set of questions, after which we'll come back for a final round.
Yeah, thank you very much. On the first issue of whether I am under pressure to go to court, you would understand that the issue of accountability and oral, that is Operation Recover All Loot, was a central plank of His Excellency's campaign. In fact, the National Democratic Congress campaigned seriously on the issue of accountability. Ghanaians bought into that campaign and other issues that we addressed during the campaign, and that is why they voted for us to hold those who have abused public office accountable. So yes, I'm under pressure, but I'm under pressure not from political quarters, but from ordinary Ghanaians. Despite my busy schedule, I find time to go to social media, and I see what Ghanaians want us to do. They are in a hurry to know what we are doing about holding people who have looted state resources accountable. Yes, sometimes you may have some of your colleagues saying that things are not going as quickly as we wanted. But I have said that I will not rush to court on any matter. I will not. And the president knows that, and he accepts that. So yes, the pressure is coming, but you see, it was under that pressure that together with EOCO, we investigated Edubwahi. You see how diligent the work has been. You see the evidence we have laid out, okay? If you're under pressure, you go to court, and then you now come back to look for evidence, like some other Attorney General did in the past, and subsequently was calling a witness to help the witness help him, make out his case. All right, so I won't do that at all. I would, if I don't have the kind of evidence that I have on Edubwahi, I will not go to court. So yes, the pressure is there, but I'm soaking in the pressure together with my Deputy Attorney General and some of the staff. We are soaking in the pressure. Now, with respect to the bail conditions, yes, we gave them bail conditions. I think all in all, it's about 160 million. Yes, about 160 million Ghana cedis bail with sureties to be justified. So they brought some properties belonging to some of their friends and family. We are verifying the titles of those properties and to see if we will accept them in order to grant the bail. Now, with respect to Edubwahi, I got a briefing last night, and I'm thinking that he should continue to stay in detention. If we are granting the wife and the other suspects bail, he should continue to stay in detention because of what has come to my knowledge. So I have advised EOCO to vary the bail terms or release him and rearrest him. And then we will now go to court in order to meet the 48-hour constitutional threshold, maybe likely today. On the raids, on so-called raids, you see, the MPP is a unique group of individuals. In 2017, they were arresting, that's what they said. They were arresting former appointees, okay? So I told you here that policemen came to my house with guns. If that is not okay. Sorry, the bail amount is 260 million, not 160. So he just DAG just came to correct me on that. It's 260 million. So they came to my house in July of 2017 with guns. I didn't call a press conference to say that this was a raid. They showed me a warrant that they were conducting investigations into a transaction in respect of which I had written a legal opinion. That is the Ameri deal. And they came to my house, okay, with guns. Can you go back to the internet to check if I said that this was a raid on my house? So how come that a search of the governor's house, based upon credible intelligence that we received, and I was the one who applied for the warrants and got them issued by the High Court for the searches to be conducted? Why is that a raid? Are some people now above the law that we cannot conduct a legally sanctioned, search, constitutionally sanctioned test, a search in their houses? Maybe they are above the law. Okay, but no one is above the law in this country. We are all subject to the Constitution. And in terms of the Constitution, under Article 18, all right, there are limits to what you can do by saying that you cannot, your house should not be searched. So we obtain warrants, and if the media wants, I can make those warrants available. Okay, so there was no raid on his house, and there was nothing illegal or unconstitutional about what we did. But they are deciding to bastardize me and to bastardize the operatives of the national security by even saying that during the raid, which for me wasn't a raid, it was a constitutionally sanctioned search, they stole 10,000 Ghana cedis. All right? Now, what an insult. Okay? And that is what my Deputy Attorney General was referring to when he said that, the constitutional immunity granted to MPs does not mean that they should abuse that immunity and then, defame individuals or officials who are conducting normal business, normal public business, all right? And ladies and gentlemen of the media, let me tell you, we have a recording of Addison and what he said about the raid. So if Afenyo Markin, the Honorable Minority Leader, is daring me, we'll make that recording available. So he should desist from maligning law enforcement officers and myself for the work that we are doing. He should also take cognizance of the fact that I am the leader of the bar, and I will act in the best interest of the ethics of the profession. Everyone at the bar knows me for that. So I won't do anything unethical, and I have advised both EOCO and National Security about staying within the bounds of the law in conducting investigations. So he should not abuse his parliamentary immunity by libeling or defaming public officials who are conducting normal, legally sanctioned public business. Now, with respect to freezing orders, we are notifying all the banks today. You see, the gentleman who asked about the freezing orders, note that because of the way this gentleman, the suspect, is very highly networked, if a letter had gone out before today to any bank, there would have been swift movement of money, and there would have been other suspects would have been alerted to the fact that we are investigating them. So yes, we obtained all the accounts. For purposes of our investigation, officially, and for purposes of prosecution, we will now obtain what we are taking to court by writing to each of the banks to give us that for our prosecution. Is there any question that I have not answered?
All right, so if there are any more questions, this will be the opportunity. Please step forward. 5 more, please.
I haven't had breakfast yet.
Yes. In the interest of probity and accountability, you may have to sacrifice your breakfast and lunch as well.
No. Yes. I'm just kidding.
Hello, good morning. My name is Michael Maugbe. I report for Senate Radio Online. Honorable Minister, you mentioned that suspect Edubuahin and the wife have acquired several properties. I want to know what steps are being taken to avoid a possibility of suspect and the wife disposing all those properties in order to disrupt evidence gathering. Thank you.
My name is Kwesi Kumsen, editor of Punch Africa. AG, I would like to know if suspect Edubuahin, if your outfit is able to retrieve the money he has stolen, allegedly stolen. Okay. Will you still prosecute him? Okay. Or incarcerate him?
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Justice Adoboy. I work for the Shungwa News Agency. Yes, there's always been this issue about, there's always been this issue about confidentiality concerning national security spending, and people have, asked for more transparency in national security spending. And in your investigation so far, have you been able to identify, some of the loopholes that these suspects may have exploited to grab state money like that? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Mutala Inusa. I work with EIB Network, GH1 TV, and Star FM. Honorable Neo, in you answering one of the questions, you did indicate that, in fact, you touched on Dr. Ernest Addison's search. One of the issues that came to the fore was the fact that CCTV cameras in the home were destroyed by the men who visited the house. Can you give us some clarity? Was that what actually happened? And number 2, on Edubuahin, you did indicate that you have ordered that he be released and rearrested in the hope of getting him remanded. Is it certain that when he's taken to court, he'll be remanded as you want happen? Thank you.
You again.
2. So just briefly on his last question with respect to the search, there have been conversations in the media about the former BOG boss having backdoor CCTV footages, which has been the subject of quite a conversation. You've provided some details with respect to the alleged or purported raid. Can that be clarified as well with respect to what really transpired? And then you mentioned the former finance minister. At the last press briefing you held, you said you were going to have a conversation with the OSP with regards that investigation. Have you had that conversation? And I don't want to say, have you given the green lights because of independence and all of that, but what did the conversation also arrive at?
Good morning, Honorable Minister. My name is Nana Poku for Daily Searchlight. You agree with me that white-collar crimes are very difficult to prove, and sometimes it takes such a long time, very long haul. And sometimes the steam of the case people just forget about them. You are aware that some cases are still pending over 5, 6, 7 years. What is the dispatch that you are going to apply to make sure that these people will face justice and justice will be done?
Okay, thank you very much. On the first one, regarding steps being taken to prevent the suspect and the wife from disposing of assets. One of them is the fact that we've detained them. We've seized their phones. They are not, in communication with the outside world. This is the first time there were some people who knew, and there were reports of the arrest. Very few people knew what the arrest was about. In fact, some people called me and thought it was in relation to the issue regarding the Emirates ladies. I mean, the country manager of Emirates, but that isn't it. So we are detaining them because we want to prevent a situation where they will tamper with evidence. But as I've said, apart from the other companies that we are and other transactions that we are investigating, okay, we have substantial evidence to be able to prosecute even with, in respect of the BNC transactions. All right, so we will take all kinds of steps. Now, if we go to court, we'll ask for freezing orders, both for tangible and intangible property. I have already warned banks not to move any money in any account associated with any of the companies that they know, okay, are related or owned by Edubohe and his wife. So we will we will follow with official actions, again, seeking to ensure that we preserve the assets, for purposes of the prosecution. Now, the question with respect to whether if we recover, we will proceed to prosecute. Now, in the best of two worlds for any prosecutor is to be able to convict and jail, and then also to recover the proceeds of crime. That's the best scenario. We have a plea bargaining regime in this country. If suspect Edubohe and his wife and the other suspects that we are investigating indicate that they want to enter into plea bargains, return all the assets and the the houses and so on to the Republic, refund all the monies, okay, and then even the profits from the proceeds of crime to us, okay. Two things can happen. One is we get him a reduced sentence, so he stays for a shorter period in jail than would have been, because he's looking at a maximum of 25 years in jail. He was born in 1981. All right? He's about 44 years old. The wife is 34. She was born in 1985, or no, 82 or thereabout. So she's 34. So you can imagine doing 34 plus 25 if they get the maximum. Okay, so she will come out at an advanced age of 59. She'll be 59 by the time she comes out of jail. All right. So if they want to cut a deal and return all the proceeds, we are willing to let them go. All right. Go to jail for a reduced sentence, or for the best scenario for them is for them to walk and return all the proceeds. All right. So I'm open-minded when it comes to these issues. So if they want to do a plea bargain, they should make an offer through their lawyers. Immediately I file charges, they should make an offer through their lawyers, and I'll be willing to look at it, because that is the essence of the plea bargaining regime under the under 30 as amended. Now, the question of confidentiality and national security. You see, the reason why national security expenditures are kept confidential are many. But one is that if, for instance, you are conducting surveillance and you want to give somebody money, okay, to conduct surveillance on a Saturday, do you want to go to the bank and do a check in the name of national security and give it to the person that should go and then, cash the check and, conduct the surveillance? Also, if expenditures are overexposed, investigations will also be equally overexposed. All right, that is one of the other reasons why national security expenditures are done confidentially. So, for instance, I don't know whether you have ever seen the Parliamentary Committee on Interior or Finance or the Public Accounts Committee grilling national security publicly. Have you ever seen that? Because the tradition all over the world is that their expenses, are done, confidentially. All right. And if briefings are to be given to, let's say, the finance minister or the person in charge of our, treasury, they have to also be done, confidentially. And so I support that. The few rogue elements, like suspect Edu Boahen, should not, let us, breach national security protocols and laws by exposing their expenditures. So I will still maintain that all expenditures of national security, should remain, confidential. Now, regarding the CCTV cameras that were taken, the cameras were actually not taken. It was the hard drive of the CCTV. And every investigator knows that the hard drive is what stores, it is the memory, it is the brain box of the CCTV camera. The camera is a mechanism for transmitting images or getting the images. But when it obtains the images, they are then stored in the hard drive. And it was a hard drive that we took, or the national security, operatives who went to his house took. That is standard. It's standard in any investigation. All right. So, for instance, if the intelligence we got was with respect to some items, of significance in his house, all right. If there was a movement of those items, the only way by which we will get to know is by reviewing the memory of the CCTV system, and that is contained in the hard drive. So that is what we took. So those who are saying that we went and took CCTV cameras, are mistaken, and they are being mischievous in whatever they are doing with that information. I think there was another question by the same person regarding rearrest. Okay, so the question was whether when we rearrest, am I sure that the court will remand him? Now, that is a burden on me when I make the application to the court to show quite clearly that he's a flight risk. Now, all of you and my fellow countrymen and women listening and watching to me, from all the details that I have given with respect to the plans that he made to escape surveillance, if you want, such a person to be roaming on the streets, okay, whilst investigations are going on, then you run the risk of him escaping. And I told you that Mr. Samoa, the CEO of GIF, is playing hide and seek with us. I'm sure from Senegal he'll go somewhere else. And usually what they do is that they'll go to a country where they know that we don't have an extradition treaty with. Okay, so I can't request that they be extradited, to stand trial. But we are monitoring him, and I'm sure one day we'll get him. He will arrive in this country, either voluntarily or involuntarily. Now, OSP and then Honorable Ken Oforiatta, I have not yet had that conversation with OSP. So when I have that conversation, I will give you the details. Then also, someone asked about backdoor CCTV issues. If you can clarify the question, I think I've forgotten exactly what it was about. Yeah, what? Yes. About the fact that he had a CC. No, that from a technical standpoint, I cannot, confirm that fact. All right. I haven't held any conversations with national security on that specific issue, and I'll not there, answer a question on that. And then the last one was white collar crime and the burden of proof. You would note from everything that we have done, this is, your prototypical white collar crime. Okay? Now Non-white collar crime is stealing a goat or cassava to feed your family. But those who wear ties, like myself, and then they sit in public office and steal money, that is white collar crime. And if you investigate very well, you will certainly, come across the evidence that is needed to prove the guilt of the criminal beyond reasonable doubt. And I have no doubt in my mind that Raymond Acha and his team have done, under the direction of myself and DAG, the Deputy Attorney General, they've done a fantastic job. There are other white-collar crimes that I will address you on in the next few weeks, okay? Because as I've said, this country was turned into a crime scene for 8 years, and we are uncovering what crimes were committed. Now, I also want to take this opportunity to tell everyone in public office who is listening to me that if you do what suspect Dubois did, now I will come after you. All right? I will come after you. I'm not going to wait, because I have the authority of Mr. President that if you engage in anything like what Mr. Dubois has done, or any act of criminality, I will not wait. I will come after you. So this is a warning to everyone. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and God bless our homeland, Ghana.
All right, thank you very much, Attorney General and Minister for Justice, for that comprehensive briefing. That brings the curtains down on today's briefing, and I thank all of you from the media for showing up. See you another time.
Conference room of the Ministry of Information, where this morning
Alrighty, welcome back to the program. Good afternoon, Ghana is still on, but just so we do not interfere in your listening to the Attorney General, we didn't have to, cut in until the AG was done with his address, and obviously it's ended. So we're going to try analyzing some of the issues he's raised in addressing the press as far as the work on oral documentation is concerned. Remember that he's also mentioned some issues that were not included or involved in the documentations as presented by the oral team, but still with intelligence that the Attorney General, the oral team members, some of the oral team members picked, they actually were able to assist the Attorney General in conducting investigation on that matter, particularly has to do with Kwabena Edubuahin, as they've mentioned, a former boss of the National Signals Bureau, and his wife. And his last words is indicating that if you are a suspect in the cases that they are gathering, well, you always have to stand firm. Else, if you start behaving like Kwabena Edubuahin, they're not going to wait. They are coming right after you, arrest you, and put you, behind bars, because then there's going to be the suspicion that you're likely to, bolt or leave the country. So let's see. We're analyzing some of the issues that have come up as he addressed the press. But for now, Desmond is here to give us some updates with the news. But let's take a breather. When we come back, we'll take the details.
Casania more.
Season 2.
Casania more.
Season 2.
Casania more.
Casania 2 more.
Boys, you are back when okay. About network. Into your one, I say taxi driver or bow up on Chiba.
Because you are in fact you are far on case in there. Emma Hannah.
I do like I know yet, but my silly now. You know now. Share my silly now.
Sometimes the unexpected happens and the hero falls down in his own story. But he needs not stay down for long. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance is your trusted health partner. Whether an individual building a business, with Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern. For the best health insurance solutions for corporate institutions, groups and associations, families and individuals, choose Cosmopolitan Health Insurance from our over 700 accredited health service providers nationwide. Call us on 0302 540 668 or 0501 678 547 for all your health insurance solutions. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern.
Welcome back from the break. You're still watching Good Afternoon Ghana here on Metro TV. It's time for some news updates. I am Desmond Okrikudanzo. We'll get straight into it. And President Mahama has sworn in the new Ghana Armed Forces Council to oversee the administration and strategic direction of the Ghana Armed Forces. The Armed Forces Council is responsible for advising the President on matters relating to defense policy, military administration, and operational readiness. The Vice President, Professor Nana Jenopoku-Agyeman, will serve as the chairperson of the Council.
The strength of any military is built on the foundation of discipline, integrity, and ethical leadership. It is not just the weapons or the size of an army that define its effectiveness, but the character, morale, and professionalism of its personnel. Ghana has long prided itself on having one of the most disciplined and respected military forces in the world, and we must never take this for granted. As members of the Armed Forces Council, you must ensure that the highest standards of ethical conduct, transparency, and accountability are maintained within the ranks of our armed forces. Corruption, misconduct, and abuse of power must have no place in our military. Your leadership must inspire confidence, fairness, and trust, both within the armed forces and among the Ghanaian people. A strong military is one that earns the respect of its citizens through service, integrity, and unwavering dedication to duty.
So that was the President, John Dramani Mahama. Now away from that, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa, has revealed that his ministry is implementing structural reforms to combat illegal mining and bring order to the sector. As part of these reforms, the government plans to decentralize the mining licensing process to the district level. Local assemblies, under the leadership of district chief executives, will establish mining committees to thoroughly assess and approve mining licenses. The minister emphasized that this system would directly link the performance of DCEs to their ability to regulate mining activities in their jurisdictions. DCEs who fail to ensure proper mining practices will face dismissal.
The final report by the interim one, because I requested, is that it's very clear we have to decentralize. And one of the proposals that we are doing is basically to move. Of course, luckily we have district security committee, which is made up of the DC as the chair, the police officers and all the security. We turn the district into a district mining committee. Just add EPA, add Forestry Commission, all of the TEPA and Minerals Commission at the district level, for the purposes of reviewing and recommending license. So what we here, Minerals Commission and the minister who works with will do is that there will be an exhaustive recommendation coming from the license. And it's a matter of just following up. Maybe asking questions about it. When that happens, the district chief executive, which I've already discussed with His Excellency the President, who is very excited about it. One of his KPIs will be to ensure that he's completely responsible for every person that is doing it. As it is, they say that they are not, because we are the ones doing it. And so these structure changes are something we are looking at.
Still on this, the minister expressed concern about the disconnect within the community mining scheme and announced plans to abolish it. Instead, small-scale community cooperatives will be established to support the development of mining communities.
The previous government tried to create some kind of this empowering people. I said community mining. The team and the report that I have, almost every place where community mining is supposed to exist, the community says that they were not part of the scheme. There was a disconnect between that establishment. It turns out that they went to the DC to find a competent company, registered the thing, and then they started doing it. I'll give the example where in my place the chief will be there and he said, Chief, also the 50,000. He doesn't know why he's getting it, how much profit they made. It's not like there's a fund for the community.
Let's now talk about Ghana Month and Ghanaian food, and we're talking about kenkey. Well, kenkey made from maize may be a common meal, not only in the Greater Accra region, but across the country and beyond. But have you ever heard of or savored millet kenkey? Today in our Ghana Month series, we delve into this dish, which is rapidly gaining traction as a preferred substitute to maize. My colleague Eugenia Kofa-Kumi found this report.
You may know kenkey as a traditional fermented maize product, but today we will be exploring a different kind of kenkey made from millet. In La Dadekotopon constituency in Greater Accra, we meet Norana Atremensa, who wears two hats, a corporate woman by day and a skilled caterer by night, who has mastered the art and science of preparing millet kenkey.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Same here. Good
Hope you're doing well.
Fine, thank you. And you?
Great. I'm already excited about this. So we're here at Nora's house to witness at first hand how millet kenkey is prepared. So come with me, guys. It's going to be exciting. I'm already pumped for it.
On arrival, the millet was already being washed, a process spanning almost an hour to ensure the elimination of any impurities.
Washing millet is quite a process. And so we have washed it twice. This is the final stage, and you use both your hand and maybe a strainer or a colander or something. Yes. And then when you're doing it, you have to make sure that when you pick it, just like my mom is doing, when you pick it, you use your palm, you kind of use your eyes to screen whether you see particles of sand in there, and then you throw it into the strainer before you put it into the next batch of water.
Subsequently, the millet is drained and transferred into a pan. Sometimes
some people complain that maybe they feel, Madam, are you sure there is no maize or cassava dough or anything? So maybe now that you're seeing it firsthand, you would know that indeed there is nothing, there are no additions, nothing. It's just the millet we take to the mill and then that's it. There's nothing. Yeah.
It is later taken to the mill nearby where the dough is meticulously processed. Millet, a staple, highly cultivated in the northern region, finds its way into various culinary delights, from porridge to local drinks to snacks and to ozafi.
So we are back from the mill. The millet is looking all sealed. So Nache, what is this seal doing at the moment?
So right now, I'm trying to ferment the millet.
Okay.
So you just add a little water, just like we do for the normal corn dough.
Okay.
So this is more like millet dough. So a little water, and then you press it, compact it so much so that air will not be introduced.
Okay.
So it's quite a work.
Just sprinkle it.
Ooh. See, it's hot.
It's hot. Am I doing it right?
Yes.
Okay.
So you start bringing them together. Yeah. Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah. Perfect.
Very little is known about millet kenkey, perhaps due to its complex preparation process demanding precision and skill.
When you ferment it overnight, it becomes too soft. You go to the mill and it's difficult to come out. And that's another wahala. And when you ferment it for too long, it becomes too sour. And then when you don't ferment it for long, the kenkey becomes hard.
Wow, what a day. We just witnessed the start of the preparation of millet kenkey. And it's been an exciting journey already. And now the process is the fermentation stage. So we'll be back here in 2 days to witness the actual preparation of the kenkey. So see you in 2 days.
It's 2 a.m. Thursday. Part of the fermented dough is boiled into what is commonly known as a flatter. It is then mixed with the remaining dough. By 7 a.m., the mixture cools, ready to be molded.
So it's 2 days after, and we're back here at Nache's house to witness the molding and cooking of the millet kenkey. So come with me.
The next step is to mold into small balls and wrapped in dried corn husk and arranged in a pot for cooking. The cooking process spans approximately 8 hours.
Millet has more fiber. So most times when we use it to prepare our cocoa, we sieve it. But this one, everything is in there. So there is no sieving, everything is in there. And then it has iron. Millet is rich in iron. So for me, those are the reasons why I opted for this. And it's gluten-free.
But how can millet kenkey be preserved?
The best way to preserve millet kenkey is to leave it on the shelf to air. So maybe you leave it in a basket for a couple of days, like 5-6 days. And if you still haven't finished consuming it, you can put it in the fridge, the warmer part of the fridge. When you're ready to eat, you just warm it.
So it's been 2 days of learning how millet kenkey is prepared. Now it's all done. The table is set. We have some balls of kenkey here with eggs, fish, tomatoes, and pepper, red pepper. So I'm salivating already.
And I can't wait. My colleagues and I, Doji and Sisi, we can't wait to have our first bite. So, watch us enjoy our kenkey. Guys. Well, viewers, we have to enjoy this, but you can't watch the rest of what we are eating. But please, see millet kenkey as an alternative to Gan kenkey. Eugenia Akofa Kumi, Metro News, La.
And that was a beautiful story by my colleague Eugenia Kofa Kumi. But I do not understand why Eugenia had to do this story without me. I need to file a petition to the boss. That was a beautiful one. And I saw how CC, Dania, Eugenia sat, ate everything in that bowl. Hey, that's it for the news for now. Annie, you see what they did to us?
You didn't see them eat everything from the bowl.
You did
not see. You didn't see. You didn't see. Don't be unfair. We all didn't see.
But I can't say
small kenkey you didn't eat, get some to chop.
They've eaten everything. They want to destroy everything.
But you know, Desi, before you go, we have a match today, right?
Yes, we have a match today. I was going to come to that.
Yeah.
Friday.
Now, Friday you
Friday
prophesied.
I said we're going to score 4-0.
You said 4. To be honest, I doubted you. So honestly, I doubted you.
Yep.
Yeah. And you scored how many? 5?
5. We added 1 to it, to the 4.
To your prophecy.
Yeah.
So, so I'm one of the people who say that I will never lose hope in the Black Stars. No matter what, I always have my hopes high.
Same here. Yeah.
Something will happen anytime, any day, So I think that, but what happened was last Friday, I actually couldn't watch the match.
Oh.
So what I was doing was I was just driving and because I was very busy. So I was driving anywhere I got to, I'll ask, what's the score like?
And it kept going up, eh?
And it kept rising.
Yeah.
So what do you think is going to happen today with Madagascar?
Well, the Madagascan team is a tough opponent than the Chadian team, and they are just behind us, and they will need 3 points to go ahead of us. We also need 3 points to stretch the gap between us and them on the table. It's going to be a very difficult one, but this will be a 2-1 or 3-1 scoreline for Ghana.
2-1 or 3-1
scoreline for
Ghana.
Ghana. Yes.
Okay.
So mark it down.
Okay.
2-1 or 3-1.
No, these days there. Even if Michael
Ojo
tells me the scoreline, I won't believe it. I'll believe your own.
2-1 or 3-1.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be tonight. So 7 p.m.
But you know what I think? I think the coach, you see that his outfit he wore, the outfit that went viral. You wear the same thing.
He's changed a number of things. The outfits that he wore the other time. Yeah. I mean, it was always black. He wore white on that was on Thursday.
Oh, okay.
And then also, like I was saying the other time, the whole unity around the team is on a different level. You see Asamoah Gyan, Stephen Appiah, part of the team and all of that. So I think the aura is good. It will be a tough match today, but we need to win, and we will win.
Maybe because it was a start, everybody was on board.
Yes.
I think they should continue like that. The boys need it.
The coach says, calm down. We are not done yet, but we'll focus and still win by 2-1 or 3-1 today.
We hope so.
Yep.
Desi, thank you. Just go and see Junior behind the scenes and get.
I'm going to look for and get my bit of the millet kenkey.
Right. All right, you're still watching Good Afternoon Ghana. Thank you to Desi as he brings us an update of what's happening in the news world as well. And the latest, obviously, is the Attorney General who just gone by briefed the press on what he and his team are doing on oral And so far, he has given us a detailed briefing on Kwabena Eduboahing and wife. And for now, they are behind bars, awaiting further investigations. We'll be waiting to see what exactly is happening. But we'll be speaking with some lawyers and some analysts, corruption, anti-corruption, personalities to pick their minds on what they think as far as the Attorney General's work on oral is concerned. Let's take another breather. We'll be back to do more.
Mommy.
Michelle say, fe.
Different era, better result. Time has changed and time has brought Kel Chocolate Toothpaste. Healthy gums, anti-cavity, fresher breath, and it whitens teeth. Kel Chocolate Toothpaste. Sankofa.
Yenchi. Kel Chocolate Toothpaste.
Happy smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
Paying for your Showmax is easy. Just choose your preferred payment method from these easy and convenient options. MTN Momo, Visa or MasterCard, Showmax vouchers at DSTV or GoTV sales agents, or use a promo code. Enter your payment details and hit submit. Showmax. Pay easy, stream easy.
Welcome back to Good Afternoon, Ghana. Let's press further on the Attorney General's briefing of the press as far as the work of corruption-related activities are concerned. Now, about 2 days ago, the former Director General of the National Signals Bureau, Kwabena Eduboahing, was reportedly arrested by officials from the Economic Organized Crime Office, that's EOCO, according to the Minority Leader Alexander Fenyumakin. So the arrest actually took place on Thursday, March 2025, shortly after Eduboahing arrived in Ghana from London Heathrow at approximately 8:30 p.m. on British Airways flights. The disclosure was made by Minority Leader Alexander Fenyumakin on his X post, actually, his X wall, formerly known as Twitter. So Fenyumakin strongly condemned the arrest, describing it as an act of political persecution under the current administration, stating that such actions set a dangerous precedent and undermine the democratic principles of justice and fairness. According to him, Mr. Eduboahing, former Director General of the National Signals Bureau, arrived in Ghana from London Heathrow on Thursday, March 2025 at approximately 8 p.m. on a British Airways flight. Upon arrival, the CIP went through immigration formalities, but while patiently waiting in the lounge for his baggage, an immigration officer informed him that there was an issue with his name and needed to be rectified at the main office in the Terminal 3 departures. So he was also told that he needed to have a discussion with the immigration boss. Mr. Eduboahing willingly followed to the officer to the immigration office at the Terminal 3 departures. After 10 minutes, about 10 minutes, he was informed that he was on top of EOCO's list and was wanted accordingly. So Deputy Director General of EOCO, Raymond Archer, who was personally present according to his team, or along with his team, who then handcuffed Mr. Eduboahing at the departures area and escorted him through the airport departure hall with approximately 6 officers. He was pushed into a white Nissan Navara pickup with registration number GN885022, accompanied by fully armed men. Another Navara pickup and a white Toyota Corolla also escorted him. So about 9:47 p.m. he was whisked away and also to an unknown place. Now this was a briefing that was given by the minority leader on X. The minority leader again today has held a press conference. We have the video briefing the press on this development. Let's hear him.
The Attorney General is abusing his office in ordering raids and conducting investigations. The Attorney General is firstly a chief legal advisor to government and an officer of the court. There is a reason for which the Attorney General is still to maintain or remain at arm's length from investigations. This distance allows for an impartial assessment of whether a prima facie case exists after investigative agencies have completed their work. Only should the Attorney General offer legal advice, only then should the Attorney General offer legal advice or make prosecutorial decisions, not before. Or in the alternative, give advice to the investigative agencies to what else to consider in the investigation so as not to do an unbiased investigation. Secondly, the Attorney General is an officer of the court. His interest is to assist the court in dispensing justice when investigators bring their case and evidence. The posture of the new AG undermines this rule. He is no longer acting as an officer of the court, but is instead acting as someone who has conducted his own inquisition, determined guilt of a suspect, and is seeking to force his view or his views on the courts. The practice undermines the role of the Attorney General and undermines the administration of justice. All well-meaning voices that respect the operation of the rule of law should call on it to an end, and to end it now as we speak. We are asking that all well-meaning voices that respect the operation of the rule of law should call on the Attorney General to put an end to this immediately. The Attorney General is not expected to start off by prejudicing an investigation and in his mind conducting an inquisition on suspects. Since when did we have an Attorney General who himself orders arrest, conducts investigations, and examines his own evidence to determine if a prima facie case is being documented or docketed against a suspect? This is highly improper and leads to bias right from the investigation process. Let the court decide the guilt or innocence of suspects. The new approach where the Attorney General seeks to convict political opponents in the court of public opinion before going to the court of competent jurisdiction is an abomination that should not be countenanced. The courts of Ghana are the only ones that should be allowed to convict or acquit, not the Attorney General. How can you suspect a person who is innocent until proven guilty by a court, not take that person through the court processes, but come to conduct public show of your suspicions, seeking to prejudice the minds against that person? How? This is terrible and a backward step in the growth of our democracy. Charges against a person should be laid in court for the person to enter a plea and advance a defense so that the courts can decide. This new modus operandi of the Attorney General is totally against the principles of natural justice and should be stopped. If you have evidence against someone, go to court. If you do not have evidence, don't malign those people through press conferences. I do not know what kind of criminal jurisprudence that is. Stop the political intimidation. We are clear in our minds that the new government seeking to shift attention from all their initial challenges they are having with the budget, with the fight against Galamsey and Dumso, are now leading, and also the issues leading to the burning of markets, has now adopted the tactics to intimidate political opponents. And our allies, in the process, seek to change the public discourse. Ghanaians should not fall for this, but should instead call on the administration for these underhand tactics.
Sorry, that was a second deputy chief whip of the minority, Jerry Ahmed Shaib, who also was explaining further what I read earlier, having been put out on X handle, the minority leaders page in terms of Apenyo marking. Now, we've been joined on the phone lines by Martin Pebu, who was appointed onto the oral team, and obviously an anti-corruption campaigner, to further on explain what he thinks of this briefing that was given to us by the Attorney General. Senior lawyer, thank you so much for your time. You're welcome to Good Afternoon, Ghana.
Yes, good afternoon, Annie.
I'm grateful. Have you had time to go through? I know you didn't watch from the beginning, but have you had time to watch excerpts of the briefing? And what's your opening remarks of the briefing itself?
Well, I like the way the Attorney General termed this one as trailer in Manila. This is the trailer in Manila, the Muhammad Ali fight. And we should wait for the rumble in the jungle here in George Foreman, right? That happened in Africa here, Zaire, Kinshasa. So today's one is trailer in Manila. That's good. It brings excitement to the debate. But Annie, I must mention to you that right now I'm extremely concerned about the fact that now big political leaders of this our country are taking a go at each other on matters that now it's difficult to know who is saying the truth. You see, Dr. Ayine mentioned that Afenyo Markin was misleading the public with accusations that money was lost, etc., when they went to search the governor's house. Now, and you just played this in the clip of Jerry Ahmed Shaibu, MP for Weja, repeating that not everything went well with it, and he even adds that the National Security Coordinator had to apologize for what went on. So now we are left wondering who is speaking the truth. I think that there must be an impartial investigation into this matter. Otherwise, look, the national security is just denting their image too much. It's not good, because you can't have these two serious statements, right? First of all the allegations Afenyo Markin laid out. And then Ayini is saying those are false. Then Jerry comes back with another counter that even the National Security Coordinator had to apologize. Now, so who is speaking the truth? He says, she says. He says, she says. He says, she says. We must get to the bottom, because this is not good. It's needless. Listen, if somebody said some things that were untrue, at this day, I think, we can accept an apology, then we draw a line under it and move on. But the way now we are left in doubt, it's just not good for our democracy. It's not good at all. I think perhaps even the president has to come in, let's have an impartial inquiry. Or if they want to avoid it, then the person who has been lying to us, whoever is not saying the truth, should perhaps come apologize for it, and then we can draw a line under it.
How do we do this, Martin Pebu? How do we do this? Because the Attorney General received the docket, the documents or information from oral team. they are proceeding to do what they are expected to do. And maybe you can explain to me further if how the arrest of Edu Boahin, for example, was illegal by your expertise. Maybe you can let us understand. Is it not the minority that has taken it upon itself to continuously, because a raid was conducted in the former finance minister's home. They held a press conference on it. Same with the former Bank of Ghana boss. They held a press conference on it. So you see that by the trend, it is a plan or a deliberate effort to speak against all the actions taken by this government in proceeding with investigating corruption and corruption-related activities.
Excellent. So you see, good. So that's one side of it. So you see, but there are other perspectives. That's why I said for the growth of our democracy, then let's do a commission of inquiry into it so that we will know, just like the way we did for Ayawasu West Wogon
right.
Commission. Let's do for this one because look, it is very embarrassing that minority leader says X. The government, extreme side denied it. Attorney General himself has come to deny. Then this another minority member comes to even add more facts that there's been an apology. Look, I think we should get into the bottom of this. Let's have a public inquiry where we'll bring all the actors to come and show. So let's say, for instance, today, Jerry Ahmed Shaibu is saying that the apology was done on Jakpe's behalf. So under our law, the Commission of Inquiry will have power to ask whichever of the telcos to get the call record. Then we'll see which number was being used. Then Dr. Addison will disclose his telephone numbers. Then they will check, was there a call made, around what time, etc. Even in extreme cases, if they want the content of the conversation, it can be obtained. So that we'll get to the bottom of it, because this is not good. It's not good for our democracy. We should leave the politics aside. Whoever is lying on this occasion, I think the Constitution allows that the president will set up a commission of inquiry. Is that Article 278? Let's use it, because this is embarrassing for us as a nation. We can't continue like this. The politics has to stop somewhere, because you know that we all want to recover a lot of the loot that's gone on. You know, I was always on Akufo-Addo's neck, he and his appointees, that they were looting. Kennedy Japan said it, that they are looting like there's no tomorrow, right?
Yes.
So this is the time for us to recover. But as we are asking for recovery, the recovery too has to be done within law. So
in a clean manner.
Excellent. Yes. So now that there are these accusations and counter accusations, let's use the Commission of Inquiry route where we'll do it publicly so that we'll find out who has been lying to us, who is lying, which version is truth. We can't let this matter pass. It's not good, because you see, over the weekend on Saturday, we did the debates on this, and then today, so we thought that was the end of it. But today, look at what has come out. You see what Jerry Ahmed Shaibu is saying? So who is speaking the truth now? Who is speaking the truth? Let's activate the constitutional provisions. The president can do it. Parliament, you can call upon him to do it. Parliament by a resolution. Okay, maybe. So yes, once we all want the truth, it shouldn't be about NDC, MPP, right? So Parliament can ask for it. In the same way, the Council of State, good. Maybe we should call on the Council of State to step in. Yes, thank God, Sophie Kufuya Santua is on the Council of State now. You know, she even said it before her swearing that they'll be giving the president honest, independent advice. Yes, so this time we expect the Council of State to be more independent than we saw in the previous regime, because you know people are asking questions about the Council of State, whether we should scrap it, because there were times that we always say we expected the Council of State to be like the elders of the town,
right?
Like our traditional setup, but we didn't see much of the Council of State in the previous administration. This time we expect to see much on them. We need elders in the town. Now that this thing is happening, if the president doesn't set up the Commission of Inquiry, I think we can petition the Council of State to come in. The MPs too can also do this. They can also pass a resolution in Parliament so that we'll set up a Commission of Inquiry. This is not good. It's not healthy for our democracy. It's not healthy at all.
Speaking of the Council of State, you think that this time they can come with a neutral front, considering the fact that the Council of State also has in its, as a member of the team, a former Chief Justice who obviously is associated with the NPP government. Do you think that if the Council of State is also activated as far as this fight is concerned, it will push the fight forward positively?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, it will help because once the Council of State agrees and advises the president that the commission of inquiry should be done, if the president will listen. That's if only he himself doesn't even do it ahead of the Council of State. Yes. And you see, so for Kufu, yes, it's related to Kufuado, right? And she has said so publicly. Yes. So that's her affiliation. But if we also check the record, so for Kufu was appointed onto the Supreme Court by President Rawlings.
Yes.
So you would also hear that until Kufuado appointed Sofo Kufu as Chief Justice, other people too would tell you that Sofo Kufu was more disintilted. Her views were in accord with the views of the NDC. So for me, the fact that she was appointed by Kufuado, I don't think that alone would disqualify her.
Enough.
If anything at all, Annie, Sofo Kufu rather has been able to come out to criticize her own relation, President Kufuado. Watch the DDEP. Sofo Kufu went to demonstrate. How many people of her stature in Ghana were able to stand up against Kufuado? She went to demonstrate against the DDEP. That's the debt restructuring that was done. That brought on toll high ship, killed people. People couldn't buy medication. People couldn't pay rent, etc. She went to demonstrate that, no, this is wrong. There were other government policies. She came out, the lithium mines, etc. Even this morning, she's supposed to be giving a speech on the natural resources that the mining company should pay more. I went to court. I couldn't follow it. So if you check Sofo Kufu's profile, you will see that she did a lot under Kufuado. There are people who are even supposed to be opposition. They couldn't speak even 1/100th of what Sofo Kufu did. So for me, to the extent that she was very active, she spoke her mind and spoke for justice, etc. It's okay. It doesn't really matter that she was appointed by Kufuado. People who say she was appointed as CJ by Kufuado should remember that she was so appointed to the Supreme Court by President Rawlings. So they basically seem to cancel out.
But she still comes across with a balanced position. Anyway, so there was a question that was thrown back to the Attorney General's presser. There was a question that was thrown to him if he was under pressure. He said he answered positively, yes, he is under pressure, but it's not pressure from the political quarters, it's rather pressure from the people and themselves. He says it takes time to go on social media. He sees what's happening there. So he is under pressure, but that is under pressure in answering to the people's calls, which is why he deems it very important to be holding these press conferences. But do you think that the continuous process, as far as this investigation procedure is concerned, is advisable? Do you like it? Is it good? Does it foster inclusive governance?
Absolutely. So the last part, the process are good. Yes, the process are good. I know he's an investigator, yes, an attorney general, all right, and a prosecutor. He does both. And so they will usually tell you that the investigators shouldn't speak. When a case is under investigations, don't speak. He himself repeated it a number of times. So you see, he was trying to be careful not to disclose matters that were being investigated, etc. On the balance, I think the process are good. Once he's mindful that there is a thin line, he has to be careful not to run ahead of himself. I think we should do more of that. That is accountability. What he came to do, that's accountability, because he said what? The people are asking questions, social media, traditional media, etc. Yeah, and he's very good. When you send him a WhatsApp now, he would respond. There were times that I looked at, I said, hey, then this man, he must be overworking. If you send him a WhatsApp message, in 3 hours, he comes back. Even with my level of responsibility, sometimes some messages, it takes me days to answer. So yes, I can see Ayuna is working very hard. He should continue. He should engage us more so that let's see. He did another brilliant thing. The knowledge prosecutors that he entered. He brought out the reasons, brought out copious reasons. The ones who were not happy about we made it very clear. Remember the Collins Dowda matter? And
right.
So that's a matter that we should keep watching. We made it very clear to him that the circumstances under which Collins Dowda's case was cancelled, that's the Sagleme project, no, we should do further investigations, because having paid over 200 million, did we get value for money? So we asked that there should be an independent panel set up to value what the work that was done at Sagleme, etc. You see, if he hadn't brought out the reasons and he had just simply said he has withdrawn the charges, he has discontinued, we wouldn't have had this opportunity to scrutinize. But once that happened, you see that we're able to see that no, that Collins Dowda matter, no, the money is too much. We want to find out, did we get value from this money? Okay, so let's go on with it. Throughout the what do you call it, the reasons he brought, the other cases, we saw that he discontinued the Japa case because of Godfrey Dame's ethical breaches. You see, we're telling him that he couldn't have spoken with Japa in the manner he did, trying to tell Japa to go and bring fake medical excuse duty, trying to coach Japa to go and lie to the court. So you see that now the nollie prosecutor was done because of Godfrey Dame's prosecutorial breaches. So it goes down in our history that Godfrey Dame, whilst he was Attorney General, this is what he did. And eventually, even though the Attorney General filed an appeal to the Supreme Court, the successor came and stopped it because of Godfrey Dame's ethical breaches. You see, so it helped us. It moved our democracy forward. So any day, we would choose Dr. Ayine coming to engage us over a principle that an investigator should not talk.
Right. Now, on the issue of transparency, as I asked earlier, if you listen to Shaib, that's the honorable member, Deputy Minority Chief Whip, he alleged that the government is hiding behind its inability of fighting energy crisis, galamsey issues, and burning of fires, and rather rushing to prejudice the process of investigation. People are not guilty. We're already, preparing the minds of the process to let it look like they are actually guilty by the way we are presenting the cases by the process that is being held by the Attorney General. To be fair to the other side of governance, is that how they see it anyway? But do you think that it is fair to also hear them on how they think the government is presenting cases?
Oh, that's how we've always done our politics. It's to be expected. NDC in opposition did the same. That's what MPP is also doing. But there's some value in it. The value in what Jerry and Shaibu is doing is that at the same time, he's just cautioning us as citizens that we should be careful that we are not deceived. We should be careful that we are not deceived. So to that extent, grant him. That's what they all do. And it's not only in Ghana. That's what, at least, I've watched a bit of UK politics. I've watched a bit of American politics. That's how they do it. So we, as citizens, those of us in the middle, we have to be vigilant that they don't hoodwink us. But it should continue. Let him, the culture of silence, the one we've been warned that we don't want that in Ghana. We don't want any culture of silence. There's always value in the noise. Trust me, Annie, that one day, let's not make a mistake. No matter how stupid, excuse my language, some utterances may sound, there is always value. The value is that the opponent is crying. So you know that the more he disturbs, your opponents disturb you, even when you think you are doing something well, it causes you to rethink, what can I do to make it better, to shut them up?
Okay.
So there is always value in the noise that opposition make. Anybody who tells you that, oh, they should keep quiet, they're just doing it because they know they are guilty, etc. Oh, well, it's possible. But I'm also saying that, but there is always value in the noise that opposition people make. Because if not for anything at all, it just causes you to think and want to do things better to shut them up. Yes.
So the thriller in Manila, as you put it, we're ending the interview, but do you think that this thriller is on its path of satisfying the cause as started by Oral? Because we know that, at least with the details giving about Kwabena Edubuahin, it was led by Raymond Acha, who was or is a team member of Oral, and obviously some of you may still be holding some of the information you have, or recently you also spoke to me about about the Ghana Bauxite Company sale and all that. Are you continuously leading the Attorney General to expose some of the issues that you were not able to lay before, or included in the bulk of information you submitted to the Attorney General?
Oh, definitely. As citizens, when we see anything new, we are compelled by law to forward to him. But we are not leading him. We are supplying him information. Then he would choose. Because you would also soon find that it may not be possible to prosecute all the cases. Yes. Looking at our current manpower limitations, etc. So we supply the information and then he would choose. Yes, because once our numbers went out on the oral committee, etc., people continuously bring information, bring tips. So when that happens, we have to pass on to the Attorney General. And it's good Raymond actually led this investigation. The Attorney General, that's the Kwabena Edu Boahin matter. Yes, he says it's Raymond Archer's investigations, right?
Yes.
And then he mentioned that the NSS one, that or the NSA, National Service Scheme Scandal, or National Service Authority. Now, that one came from the ORA. So it's good. So you see that ORA is bringing some benefit. So it's good. Me, I always said it from day one. You remember people were saying ORA is not useful. I said no. If not for anything at all, it brought citizen participation. And that's very, very good because you need your citizens. Look, in any country, your number one asset is your citizenry. If you don't have citizens, you don't have a country. So the more your citizens are engaged, more engaged with you, participatory democracy, then the more you're likely to make progress. That when the citizens check out and say, oh, don't mind them, they are the same, oh, nothing will come out, oh, nothing. No. So it tells you that we are on we are on a roll. We are on a roll. There will be more successes. So let's all commit together to help the government, but let's also keep our eyes opened that it's not everything that we will support hook, line, and sinker if we don't think it is right.
Before I let you go, so the Attorney General has also cautioned, I won't say threat, but has cautioned that any suspect on the list behaving like Kwabena Edu Boahin will find themselves in the situation that Kwabena Edu Boahin finds himself. Is that legally correct? Is it right? The minority has already criticized that what was done was illegal and unfair. I mean, with all the words that you can use to describe it. But legally, educate us on it.
Yes. So the Attorney General, the Attorney General in our Constitution is the number one law enforcement officer. Let's repeat. From the architecture of our Constitution, the Attorney General, Article 88, when it tells you that all prosecutions shall be in the name of the Attorney General, okay? And also when you are suing government, it's in the name of Attorney General. These ones, the meaning of it is that the Attorney General is the number one law enforcement agent. He's the first person, then the rest follow. Of course, naturally, we are not saying the rest are not important, but what I mean is that in the Constitution, it's no ways there's some within the office. The Attorney General is to ensure that there are prosecutions, and then the civil cases saying you go against the Attorney General. Yes, so when the leader gives a caution like this, it's good. It's just warn you and I, Annie. You and I, that's Annie, we are sitting here. Tomorrow, if somebody comes to give you 200,000 Ghana cedis, when you don't think you've done any work, then you should be asking, who is the person? What work does he do? Is it government? Is it a government official? Like, hey, it's me. How much is your pay that you want to give a gift of this?
Yes, because the Attorney General gave some details. It says that Edu Boahin and his wife used the money, NSB money, to buy a series of estate houses between 2020 to the exit of MPP from power. They bought over 37 houses in their names. Location, these properties are Teshin, Oyarifa, and London. The details continues.
Excellent. So that's what we're saying. So when you see plenty money coming from somebody whose salary cannot buy those properties, then we should be what? Careful. We should ask questions. It's not anything at all that we should take. So even if you're a seller, then this is also a caution to the banks. I think that's the other side that is not being properly brought out. The banks.
Yeah.
That, okay, did they see that this money looked well beyond the salary of Edu Boahin? Did they
Yes,
look
but I don't know if you were able to watch that side. He has sent a caution to the banks. Yes, saying that they should not transfer any money associated with either the wife or Dubois' accounts.
Yes, I heard that side. So that's good. That's good. So even under our laws, even without his caution, they were supposed to know that, because when you're even opening an account, the banks I've dealt with, they will ask you how much is expected to go through this account, meaning that generally you should know the kind of business you are running. What are your revenues? Or even if it is fresh, what's your expectation? Then they note. So that the moment it's going beyond that, they'll be asking you questions. If you can't answer, then straight away, they will file the suspicious transaction report to the FIC, the Financial Intelligence Center. Then they too, they will go through blah, blah, blah. Then, so these things happen. These things, we already have them in our laws. Yeah, but we all don't like banks that ask too many questions, right? But with what the Attorney General is saying, he's asking the banks to ask more questions. Yes.
All right. I'm not sure if you want to, comment on the BOG raid. He cited the fact that his house was visited in 2017 with fully armed men. He didn't make noise about it and did not describe it as raid. So he does not understand why, in this current situation, we are jumping into conclusion and describing it as raid. It's legally done, is allowed. If there are any suspicions, the Attorney General is rightfully, the intelligence agencies are right, to issue the legal authority for suspects' homes to be searched.
Oh, the doctor he doesn't understand why the media are using the word raid. Oh, well, I didn't hear that side, so I'm not responding to him directly, but let me comment on it, right? Nowadays, in the last 5 months, I've been compelled to, because of some work that I'm doing, I like to watch a bit of British media. And I can see headlines. Oh, the tax raid. In the North Sea, there's been this new tax that they brought, the oil and gas companies in the UK. So you see the headlines, tax raid, tax raid. Oh, they use it every day there. So no, I didn't hear Dr. Ayini, so I'm not responding to him, but I'm giving education that please, let's slow down on criticizing the use of the word raid. We should remember that the media do their work in such a manner as to try to get results, impact.
Okay.
So sometimes they use harsher words to prick our conscience. So I don't see anything wrong with the word raid, at least from what I've watched on the British media. I see raid almost every week. I see something raid or something on Sky News. So no, I'm not one to complain about the word raid.
Right. Senior private legal practitioner Martin Pebu, thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
You're welcome.
Right. So that's Martin Pebu, a member of our team, and giving us his legal analysis. But I think the top advice is that His Excellency, President John Dramani Mahama must speak now, activate all constitutional provisions, and if possible, set up a commission of inquiry, to avoid this going at each other as far as this investigation is concerned, right? All right, so you're still watching Good Afternoon Ghana, and just gone by, let me just remind you that the Attorney General has briefed the press on its work so far on the, on the oral reports that they received. But one new case that also was added is the fact that Kwabena Dubois was arrested or has been arrested, and he explained why the arrest. So, well, we have given you some details, but let me just add more to it, because I think there's been criticisms across, and the Attorney General finds it necessary to explain himself why the arrest, and details have been given to us. We had the minority leader writes on his Twitter account. Let's go onto the phone lines again and speak with Adam Sanano, anti-graft, personality who also is an anti-corruption campaigner. Adam Sanano, good afternoon to you. You're welcome to Good Afternoon Ghana.
Good afternoon to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, so we've just gone off the phone lines with Martin Pebu. And the first take at the issue was the fact that he finds it quite embarrassing on the going at each other of minority coming against government or the actions that's taken. And he thinks that the president should activate constitutional provisions by setting up, that is his advice, set up a commission of inquiry that will position itself as a neutral body, so that we will not have so much of these issues or actions being taken to fight corruption thrown at the government because of partisan positions. I'm not sure what you make of this advice.
Well, I mean, I am quite sure that whichever action government takes at this point, you will find that the opposition will have something to say. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because I can well them say that this commission is set up purely for witch hunting, you know. So I know my brother Martin means well by saying perhaps take it out of the quarters. But at the same time, institutions of state must work. And if institutions of state under the current legal framework already have responsibility for these matters, which appears to be the case, otherwise you could not have the process where they would request for warrants, receive it, execute, go and search, etc., etc. It means that the current system allows them to do what they are doing. And so it is not untoward or out of place for the Attorney General, given whatever information is at his disposal, to want to follow up on these issues. So yes, that may be one way, but I doubt that it would in any way reduce the commentary and the position being taken by the opposition that they are just trying to hunt them down, etc. I have a suspicion it will make much of a difference.
Well, back to the Attorney General. So you did you listen in with the presser and the briefing that he gave us?
Yes, I joined in midway. Someone alerted me, so I heard some parts of it. So tomorrow.
Hello.
So I listened to some parts.
Yes. For the parts, I'm not sure where you listened to, but briefly, what do you make of what he gave us? He has given us a briefing in total about Kwabena Dubois, who was arrested days back, and reasons why he's been held. He was released, rearrested, and all, so that they can keep within the laws and all that. He has threatened that any person on the suspect list that behaves like Kwabena Dubois will be treated the same way.
I think that the AG has begun something which, for us in civil society, is a very important thing. In developing the law for the OSP, Act 959, one of the major gaps that we found was the fact that even though we had institutions of state responsible for investigating, pursuing issues of graft, and giving results, there was no communication on the work being done, what levels they had achieved, what results they had. And so we intentionally, in Act 959, established a responsibility to report back to the people at least every 6 months. What it meant was that if the frequency was much more, that will ensure that media and citizens are informed. It will raise the bar in terms of anti-corruption, because everybody realized that, look, this fight is serious. People are being hauled before the courts. People are being investigated. That kind of continuous flow of information is what makes people believe that we are serious. And so for me, I'm very delighted that the Attorney General would choose to brief us directly and take questions and answer all the questions and explain why they went after A or B, the processes followed, the fact that it was legitimate, they hadn't flouted or breached any laws, and then query the opposition leader and say, listen, if you're going to start slandering us, you better get your facts right, because that's not the way to go. I found it a very important addition to our way of doing things, and I hope that the AGs will continue to do this. The frequency, the much more frequently they engage with the public and media, giving us information, allows all of us to be parties carried along and contributing to support. If we hear anything, see anything, we can also report and ensure that the agencies are taking the actions that preserve the public purse.
Yeah, but the opposition, has criticized it. In its criticism, it states, which we should consider, that this is to prejudice minds.
I mean, the question is when you can always have a set of people saying one thing. Fact is has anyone been prejudiced? What's the prejudice? If you are, did the AG come and say anything that was not factual? That's the question. Did he raise anything that was not factual? Did he say anything that substantively anyone would say this was an attempt to attack a particular person, so to speak? I don't think that's the issue. If anything at all, it is because the opposition has gone to town saying that raid A and raid B and raid C and highlighting the issues. Otherwise, these are things that have been done quietly by the security agencies. And I think the AG made that point, that in 2017, so that's where I joined. In 2017, he was in his home when they came and said he was wanted. They showed him a warrant, and so they went ahead and did their search because he had given a legal opinion. And it never hit the light of day. It was not on social media. And that's what is supposed to happen. This current set of searches would not have hit any platforms if people in the opposition had not started saying it's a raid, it's a raid, it's a raid. So let's allow the institutions of state to work. I don't see what aspect of, at least what I heard, is prejudicial at all. It just simply means that they are gathering information, they are picking people, and on the weight of the evidence, they'll go to court. If really the evidence is strong enough, the court will rule on what should happen.
I appreciate the fact that you say that it definitely will have, the effects on the corruption monitoring agencies. But you, the civil society, you have stated that fighting corruption is more effective when you see the government fighting its own people. The reason Ghanaians were against the previous administration was the fact that it gave some very little or zero commitment to fighting corruption allegations against its appointees, which is why this administration decided to take it over and name the what it calls oral. Is it something that one may have the opportunity or the suspicion or the right to think that, well, you seem to be putting so much pressure on this because it has to do with previous administration officials?
I think that argument is a lame argument. It is lame because truth is this is going to be the pattern for regime from regime. I mean, we should just accept it that when one regime goes, the next regime, that's all part of accountability. The next regime that comes is going to probe everything you did. They will start with you first. And hopefully when we get to the point where we have leaders who are conscious about their own members, they will also be probing their own members. This regime is barely, 3 months? So perhaps nothing has come up yet on their own persons. But if they are serious, we would expect that as you go along, any such issues that come up, you will find that the president would distance himself for it and allow the same institutions of state, which is why, in my view, it is good to allow the institutions of state, because OSP will still do its work. IOCO will still do its work. If they identify that there's any persons who have unexplained wealth and there's a reason to question it, ask, investigate, they will do same. So I think that it is early days to seem to suggest that this particular government is just pursuing the previous government. That is what is going to happen.
Yes, because the previous government officials have already started describing this as witch hunting.
Well, I mean, yes, they can choose to call it witch hunting, but that, for those of us from a technical understanding, that is what is going. That's the pattern, and there's no point calling it witch hunting. It is not about witch hunting. It's about what do the facts say. Are the facts credible enough for a court of competent jurisdiction to find you guilty? So you can only tell me it is witch hunting if after they take the issues to court, the court doesn't find a competent argument a compelling argument being made, then we can begin to say, was it really worth it? But until that has happened, I think this is just a lot of talk. It's a way of trying to dissuade and to try and reduce the effectiveness or the fervor with which the anti-corruption agencies will go after you. But that is what is going to happen. Whether this government or the next government, immediately after a transition, we will expect whoever is in government to make sure you do a clean sweep, cross-check what was done. Are there monies we can retrieve? Because we do need those monies. So using the word witch hunting should not stop any of our agencies from going after those who have taken money that are not their monies, have stolen from the public purse. Let's expect that to happen every transition cycle, but it's just talk. It is just talk, because you still have to go through the processes of going to court and proving that this individual has stolen money or vice versa. So whichever way you look at it, the witch hunting is not going to change the fact that process must be followed. And if process is followed and the court finds that truly there's money that is owed to the state, you must pay back, or you must be sanctioned, you must be jailed. That will happen. So the witch hunting is neither here nor there. Let the legal processes, the anti-corruption agencies do their work. And let's expect that every time there's a transition, this talk of witch hunting will happen. What is much more important is that the government of the day should also take the same measures when they identify that their own people have been involved in graft.
There was a question on, going to court with pertaining to what you have said. There was a question of going to court if you have the evidence. The Attorney General explained that, by the nature of white-collar jobs, white-collar crimes, you definitely will need a lot of information. You have to take your time and go through some rigorous investigation processes to gather more evidence before you probably take it to court. So he indicated that he will not rush to court, but he will make sure that all the evidence he gathers before he gets to court will be adequate enough to grant him what he goes to the court to seek. And so this is what his position really is when it comes to going to court with evidence. And that's because he was actually being attacked that if you have evidence, why are you coming to the public? Just go to court, because that's like trying to pitch the public, making use of the public, court of public opinion to seek some sentimental supports.
And that you see, that kind of argument cuts both ways. The people who are alleging this, and didn't they go to the public to allege it? Wouldn't the whole issue of the searches have been something quiet where nobody is making a fuss about it? So I don't see how the same people who have gone to public to say we are so and so and so wouldn't expect that the AG should come to the public to respond. I mean, what kind of argument is that? I find that a very porous
especially knowing, not to take the wind out of your mouth, but especially knowing that oral itself was a public support-based information gathered to be sent to the Attorney General.
Absolutely. So it's a bit confusing. If you've come out and say they are doing raids, that is that, and it's not right, it's illegitimate, and so on. The AG is bound. I can't imagine the president being somewhere and hearing all this, or anybody, and not saying, Mr. AG, aren't you going to respond? What is going on there? That is the way we instruct him to. And by the way, we in civil society say that is actually best practice. The best practice is that the ministers of state, when there's an issue happening in your sector, you need to be in the public space informing the citizens and carrying them along as to what actions you've taken, why you took them, and what you are expecting to come out of that. He would have been an irresponsible AG if he's going to ignore all the commentary and say nothing. For how long? We will be the first to accuse him and criticize him that what's wrong with you. Come and explain what is going on. So this is neither here nor there. Once all of this is in the public domain, the AG has a responsibility. And I'm trying to explain that that's part of the challenge we've had with our fight. That many of the agencies hardly ever come into the public domain to say what is being done, who has been arrested. So there's no, that high level of precedence that if I do this, I might be arrested. It's not happening because there's nothing in the public domain. It's like nobody's fighting anything. Nobody's been arrested. So it serves our public interest for the AG to come and say, these are the reasons. And if we think what he has said is not good enough, it's not credible enough, we question him and tell you that, no, what you are doing is wrong. And trust me, Ghanaians know how to talk. We will tell the AG that this one doesn't make sense. So I think that is neither here nor there to say, why should you come to the public? The issue is already in the public domain, being discussed. The AG, if he has to be responsible, needs to come and give us feedback as to why this has occurred and what exactly is going on.
So the AG must continue on this tangent?
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, all anti-graft, like I've said, the challenge you've had, whether it is BNI, CID, YOCO, TRAD, has been that even though they are doing work, this information is hardly ever in the public domain. And so there's that sense that the impunity of fraud and of graft goes unabated and nobody is stopping it. If you put much more information into the public space, showing that high-ranking officers are being searched, are being arrested, are being jailed, you find that gradually you see a reduction in the levels of impunity and corruption we are finding, because people have that understand that, hey, there are people watching, they are following up, there are actions being taken. And so we really do need all anti-graft agencies to be more proactive in carrying people along, the citizens along, by giving us feedback as often as possible.
Do you see a proper separation of, I don't know if it's right for me to put it that way, separation of powers in terms of the work of the Attorney General? He indicated that he's not under pressure from political authorities or quarters. He's rather under pressure from the public. But do you think that he's really doing his work independently, devoid of presidential influences?
I don't know what you would call presidential influence, because if you are the president and commander-in-chief, you are required to have set targets for your various sector ministers.
Yes.
And so there cannot be a situation where there will be no influence from the presidency. The president is expected to have a vision. That vision is supposed to be tangible in terms of set targets. Those targets must be, as it were, relevant to the sectors. And within the sectors that they are relevant, the ministers in charge will be answerable and accountable to those particular targets. So if the president's target has been that, listen, we need money, and anyone who's stolen money that we know they have stashed somewhere and can be made available for us to improve our cash flow, we want you, if you have any such intelligence, any intel, follow those as low-hanging fruits, retrieve them, and make sure that we have it accessible so that we can use for other things. That would be what the AG would do. So you would prioritize the cases available that he needs to think about in relation to anti-corruption, find those that probably low-hanging, less effort, likely to retrieve a lot, and that will help and shore up the accounts, and probably pursue them. So there would be some influence. That's my point. It may not be the overt kind where they are calling you every day and saying, who have you arrested, etc. But in terms of the target set for him, there would be some influence.
Maybe lastly, before you go, do you think that this work should serve, you have said that, well, the government is just about 3 months old in office, but should this serve as a caution and warning to the current members of government?
I think it should. It should very much so, because, you see, we all know that this is a one-time presidency. His Excellency President John Mahama is not going to be able to take another shot at this. Now, in that time, it's clear he would want to achieve as much as he could. Our anti-graft agencies appear to be alive to the fact that we are expecting them to do more than what they have done in the past. We've already had a situation where an MP and these are things that have not happened in the past, so we need to pay attention, has been left, hanging because Parliament as a whole doesn't seem like they are too enthused about, protecting their own and saying that therefore the rule of law cannot follow its course. So I think that anyone who is in this government just should pay attention. And I think it's not just about the government itself. It's also about where we have arrived at as a society. The election processes and the outcome of the election tell you that Ghanaians are tired of a certain type of leadership and governance. We want much more progress in all sectors. And to that extent, therefore, any government that is well-meaning, any government that wants to make sure that people will still support it, will ensure that those who seem to be the miscreants, those who want to create trouble, those who want to fill their pockets at the expense of the rest of us, are identified, isolated, and punished when necessary. And I think that every member of this government should not assume that, oh, it's happening to the other group. I think the president said that the stick that was used to beat A will beat B as well. Right. They should anticipate that we will treat them with the same measure and demand that our agencies treat them with the same measure as they are treating members of the previous government.
Well, anti-graft agent and also an AU advisory board on corruption member, Adam Senan, we're grateful for speaking to us here on Good Afternoon, Ghana. Thank you. So let's give you just a brief of what the minority also said in Parliament today, we played it earlier, but we'll give it to you again. Ahmed Shaibu is the one that, addressed the press on this matter as the AG was addressing the press on oral. This is what Ahmed said.
The Attorney General is abusing his office in ordering raids and conducting investigations. The Attorney General is firstly a chief legal advisor to government and an officer of the court. There is a reason for which the Attorney General is still to maintain or remain at arm's length from investigations. This distance allows for an impartial assessment of whether a prima facie case exists after investigative agencies have completed their work. Only should the Attorney General offer legal advice, only then should the Attorney General offer legal advice or make prosecutorial decisions, not before. Or in the alternative, give advice to the investigative agencies to what else to consider in the investigation so as not to do an unbiased investigation. Secondly, the Attorney General is an officer of the court. His interest is to assist the court in dispensing justice when investigators bring their case and evidence. The posture of the new AG undermines this rule. He is no longer acting as an officer of the court, but is instead acting as someone who has conducted his own inquisition, determined guilt of a suspect, and is seeking to force his view or his views on the courts. The practice undermines the role of the Attorney General and undermines the administration of justice. All well-meaning voices that respect the operation of the rule of law should call on it to an end, and to end it now as we speak. We are asking that all well-meaning voices that respect the operation of the rule of law should call on the Attorney General to put an end to this immediately. The Attorney General is not expected to start off by prejudicing an investigation and in his mind conducting an inquisition on suspects. Since when did we have an Attorney General who himself orders arrest, conducts investigations, and examines his own evidence to determine if a prima facie case is being documented or docketed against a suspect? This is highly improper and leads to bias right from the investigation process. Let the court decide the guilt or innocence of suspects. The new approach where the Attorney General seeks to convict political opponents in the court of public opinion before going to the court of competent jurisdiction is an abomination that should not be countenanced. The courts of Ghana are the only ones that should be allowed to convict or acquit, not the Attorney General. How can you suspect a person who is innocent until proven guilty by a court, not take that person through the court processes, but come to conduct public show of your suspicions, seeking to prejudice the minds against that person? How? This is terrible and a backward step in the growth of our democracy. Charges against the person should be laid in court for the person to enter a plea and advance a defense so that the courts can decide. This new modus operandi of the Attorney General is totally against the principles of natural justice and should be stopped. If you have evidence against someone, go to court. If you do not have evidence, don't malign those people through press conferences. I do not know what kind of criminal jurisprudence that is. Stop the political intimidation. We are clear in our minds that the new government seeking to shift attention from all their initial challenges they are having with the budget, with the fight against Galamsey and Dumso, are now leading, and also the issues leading to the banning of markets, has now adopted the tactics to intimidate political opponents. And our allies, in the process, seek to change the public discourse. Ghanaians should not fall for this, but should instead call on the administration for these underhand tactics.
All right, Jerry Ahmed Shaib is the Deputy Chief Whip of the minority side of Parliament, commenting on the development with the Attorney General on the national security as it arrested Kwabena Edu Boahen. Is an official of the previous administration. Haven't spoken to the various analysts on this matter. Metro TV definitely will follow through and bring you some more developments as and when we go through with the developments of the Attorney General, what they're doing with oral and other matters. We wish to bring you details of what has happened to the Edu Markets fire, but we're unable to raise our guests on the phone lines. But let me also remind you that the fire service, Kinneti PR, who has been in a banter with the Minister for Ashanti region, has been barred from speaking to the media. He's been barred from speaking to the media. So we probably will be speaking with someone else, but there's also what we get from the sources of the National Fire Service is that there is some imminent transfer in his name. So we're still having our ears on the ground, and we'll bring you some more updates as and when it happens. My name is Annie Fompo. Thanks for watching. Good afternoon, Ghana. We're back tomorrow with a show. Kwesi, a free year will sit in.
Dasibre Kwaku Boateng III, Omahini of New Drabin Traditional Area, Nana Drabin Sewa II, New Drabin Hima, Nana Amwenima Okukudrufo, Sushen Hima, Nana Abena Enchiwa Nkabom Hima of New Drabin, Ebisua Penny Nana Kofi Chiame, Germany, Oba Penny Comfort Omane Ajman, Sushen, Mrs. Grace Ajalolo Koforidia, Apostle Eric Nyameche, Chairman, Church of Pentecost, Apostle Samuel Jehu Obobi, General Secretary, Apostle Emmanuel Ajiman Bequin, International Mission